right.
All right.
Ria, how are you?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for coming on What the Heff. For those listening, who is Ria?
Ria is, well, I'm going to start by saying I am the founder of a women's wellness community within London. It's a growing community. I've had a little bit of a change of direction recently, so it's very new for me to say that. Um, but that is me in a nutshell. That's what I do. But Ria, aside from that, is a very happy, health oriented individual.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. What do you mean you had like a change in direction?
So when I first obviously started in the industry, I was actually working in a kitchen, in like a healthy kitchen.
What?
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. Although I do know you love recipes and like cooking and
Yes,
stuff.
I
I
do a
didn't
lot
know
on
you were in the
my
kitchen.
Instagram,
Yeah.
but food was a huge part of what I did. And then I went in, I kind of was like, I really love the coaching side of things. And then I dipped my toe in like the in-person stuff. And so I did a lot of that. And I still do it. But I kind of delved into like online coaching and I had this epiphany. I was like, I enjoy it, but I don't think it's what I want to be doing long term because I am such like a people person and I see there is such value in community and connecting people in real life. So my main focus now is to kind of pivot and make everything a lot more community focused. Hence why I do a lot of like events in London, and hence why I started my like digital app, which is the clubhouse for the in-person events.
So cool. And
Yeah.
community, I feel like community is like a buzzword that's being thrown
I think it
around
is.
all the time. I'm just hearing community this, community that, build a business around community. But what is it that community really means to you? And what does your community look like?
I think for me, our health is so multifaceted. And I think a lot of people will kind of segment it and focus on one thing at a time. So they might go to the gym and be like, okay, I'm looking after my physical health, but they're not doing anything to look after, like, let's say their mental health or their emotional
Mm.
health or their social health, which is huge, right? And I think as humans, we need genuine connection. And I think we live in this like increasingly digital world where there is honestly so much noise. There is so much overwhelm. There are so many people telling us to do certain things. I think if we find our circle and we find the people who lift us up, we can become the healthiest versions of ourselves.
Mm.
So I think community for me is a huge pillar of our actual health. And I think it makes a huge difference to how you actually feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I like you, whenever we meet up with a friend or have those connections, like you automatically feel
Yeah.
like your vibration is just higher. I definitely notice if I've had like a couple of days where I'm just working online or I'm not seeing many people, my mood just goes down. And then when I go to, I don't know, a class or I meet up with friends and go for a workout, I'm like flying, I'm like on it, feel like I'm bouncing around, like I've got that like fix.
Yeah, yeah.
But so many people don't have like, I don't know, they don't maybe feel like they're connected to their community or circle that maybe they had previously, maybe they've
Mhm.
evolved over time. And sometimes it's hard for people to find those people.
I completely agree. And I think this is what I see with so many, with myself, but also with so many of my friends and so many of my clients, is that when we, like, as we get older, we do evolve and we do change. And maybe the friendships that were serving us previously no longer serve us in the same way. And there's like a little bit of like this identity crisis where you're like, can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can swear, Ria. I mean, yes, go on. What are you going to say?
Where you're like, shit. I don't know if I emotionally connect with these people as much anymore. And I think that is a really scary realization.
It is. It is. Like I also had that. Like I probably stopped drinking about 5 years ago. And I mean, back in the day, I'm sure we all love to go. Like, I don't know. Some of you lot still go out partying. I don't. I'm a bit of a grandma. But back in the day, I loved partying and raving and drinking and getting up to all sorts. And I loved music. and and going to raves, there was then the kind of the darker side of
Yeah.
that scene. And I've got friends now that kind of haven't left that scene, but they're like my friends from years ago.
No.
But like I'm just not into it anymore. But they're still my friends, but I just don't do that anymore. But you kind of drift away, I think.
100%. I think this is what I realized as I got older is that friendship isn't like a one shoe fits all.
Mm,
It's like you get different things from different friendships. And as you evolve, like you're saying, the friends that you still have, but maybe connected with more as a past version of yourself, you might just go out with them on the odd occasion and have a good time, but you might not go to them with a problem per se,
mm,
or you might not go to like have a deep, meaningful conversation with them because you just don't have the same values anymore, and that's okay.
mm,
And I think this is why I think community is so important because, say, my community of women, they all are prioritizing their wellness, they're all prioritizing their health. They suddenly have values that align with the person that you now want to be. And so when you actually spend time with those people, it's easier for you to instill those values within yourself because you're almost like mirroring your environment around you. So I think it's amazing that there's an emergence of these communities. I'll say in London because I'm in London, but in the world, and giving people an opportunity to find their people again,
mm.
and have genuine connections.
Yeah, I also think meeting friends later in life is so underrated.
A hundred
Like
percent.
the mates that you grew up with might not necessarily have evolved in the same way, like we just said. And those that you meet in your 30s, like and later, like because you've kind of chosen them as opposed to, oh, we were just at school together, there's definitely something different about that. What advice would you give to someone out there that might be in that kind of transition period where they've kind of evolved and maybe don't feel that connection with those people that they grew up with or that they've been spending the majority of their time with? Because we all know that we're a product of the people that we spend our time with, right? What advice would you give to those that are looking for this community, but don't really know where to start? Know that they are looking to be inspired by others, but those that currently they're spending their time with aren't inspiring them. Like, how do you make that first step? Because it's scary.
It is really scary. And as someone who's quite anxious in like social situations, I know it's really scary. Like the idea of going to an event on my own scares the shit out of
We were
me.
literally just saying
Yeah,
you
yeah.
might not go to this event tonight 'cause you're like, oh, I don't know,
Oh,
and
I really do like community, I'll be
yeah.
honest.
And it's crazy that, like, even you and I, who we spend so much time with people in what we do in work, we also still feel that anxiety
Yeah,
meeting new
yeah.
people. So, for kind of someone that isn't used to that, it's even harder. So go on, I interrupted.
I would say try to take the pressure off yourself. I think it's not about like finding like your tribe or like finding like all of your best friends in one go. I think it's
Mm,
about understanding who you are as a person and maybe understanding what values you want to hold in your life, or maybe what values you now hold more important than you once did. And then trying to find people or like minded people who have those values. And I think it's just about taking like the first step. So maybe just go to an event, but without the expectation of it being like, okay, these are my people. This is where I fit in. This is what I want from this experience. Maybe go see if you vibe with the people. And if you don't, it's fine.
mm,
Like there are so many communities around that you can be a part of, that you can go to the odd event. So I think it's like almost like date.
mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
date around a little bit.
yeah.
Like you know who you are, you know who you want to be. So like just dip your toe in little different ponds and be like, hey, where do I vibe the most?
Mm, mm. What do you get out of your community? Like, obviously, your community will get so much from what you offer them, but what is your why for this?
Yeah. So I mean, I get so much from it. Like I love seeing women becoming the strongest versions of themselves. I feel like when I see other people connect, it literally gives me life. It's like I'm on like a solar panel and I'm like, "Oh my God, there's loads of like rays of sunshine," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm lit up." I love it.
I love that analogy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a solar panel.
But I also have like a much deeper why. So I partner with a charity called Women's Trust, who are like a domestic health charity for women who have basically, sorry, they are a mental health charity for women who have been through domestic abuse. So I donate 1% of my time, so running like movement sessions with them, 1% of my product. So opening up spots in the community for events for women who are being supported by the charity, or also also staff doing like the vital work. Um, and also hosting events which are like fundraiser type things. And I'm also running a half marathon for them.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Um, so I guess my deeper why is that I have seen women who have been through a lot. Um, I think for me, there's two kind of branches to this, right? I've coached, this isn't me like blowing my own trumpet here. I have coached hundreds of women, like hundreds.
You've been
And
around for a while,
I've
yeah.
been around, guys. But I see such commonalities amongst people, right? A lot of people with who have had restrictive eating patterns or who have low self-esteem or body dysmorphia. And it made me so sad that so many women had felt the same way. And so I wanted to give women a space where they could look at their health in a way where they could actually feel good, and where they could prioritize that aspect of their health as well. So, like I said, it's multifaceted. The other side of it is that the more women I coached, the more I started to like open up on like social media, and I started sharing some more vulnerable sides of me. So maybe the way that things had affected me in the past. And I ended up actually opening up about a past relationship that I had been in that was very abusive. Um, and it was very difficult for me to open up about it. But that experience had caused a lot of my health issues in the past, and I felt like it was quite a fundamental thing or foundation as to like my whole ethos as a coach and as a person. And then so many women came to me after I posted that saying that they had been through a similar situation or they were going through a similar situation. And that was so upsetting to me because I was like, I suffered in silence for such a long time. And I hate to think about maybe the amount of women who are also or who have been through those situations. I wanted my community to have more of an impact and to help women who had maybe gone through a similar thing that I had been through.
Yeah, yeah. It's incredible, really. That firstly, thank you so much for sharing. And I do, and I have followed. Obviously, I follow you on Insta, and we've had personal conversations as well around this topic. And I think it is so important to share, especially when you've got a platform, because so many women will be going through or have gone through something similar who it's almost like there's so much shame around it
Mhm.
that when we're too scared to speak to anybody because and I can speak from personal experience as well that if we open up about something or number one we don't even recognize it when it's happening, right? We kind of just keep ignoring the red flags. Then number two, if we open up about it to friends or family, but we're still in the relationship,
Mhm.
people then don't take you seriously
Mhm.
or they think you're weak. Why are you still why are you still with this person if they're so evil or if they're doing all of these things that you're saying? Um, I
I think it's
guess
like a denial thing as well, right? It's like if you then open up to people, but you still want to be with that person in a really twisted way, you then don't want their judgments.
totally. Because then if you open up to your friends about and your family about that person and then you still stay, they will then judge them,
Yeah,
and you still want to have them
as a part of your
as
life.
yeah, and as your partner. God, like I stayed with someone for 3 years, but like a couple of decades ago. We're talking when I was quite young and naive, and but it was like they were this Jekyll and Hyde
Mhm.
kind of person, and I was in love with this one version, and then the other version was extremely abusive physically and emotionally.
I'm
But
sorry.
he completely didn't take responsibility for it because it was when he was under the influence of alcohol and he would black out.
Mhm.
So then then yourself tell yourself a story that, oh, it's okay because the real version is a good person and this other version isn't them. So you make allowances. So it's amazing that you're creating this safe space for women to open up about their experiences. But what advice would you give to someone listening who might be going through something or recognizing this in somebody else that they love? Is there, just from your own experience, what would you say to them?
It's very tricky because so for me, it was a much older man and he took like full advantage of me. I always say to people, it's actually wild because it's like he had a blueprint. It's like he saw me, he knew what he wanted, and he was going to stop at no lengths to get that. And I felt incredibly isolated because I wasn't allowed to tell anyone what was happening, or I wasn't. I mean, I still feel so I still find this a really difficult conversation because there's a lot of people in my life still now that were around during that period that I haven't opened up to.
Mm.
So, because I carried this ashamed feeling for so long, and because I was like, oh God, they're going to judge me or they're not going to believe me. And I think still a part of me is like still stuck in that. But the more that I do open up, the stronger that I feel. But I was incredibly isolated and I wasn't really talking to anyone about it. And at the same time, I then had kind of like barricaded my world. So I didn't really see my friends. I wasn't really talking to my family as much. Um, I guess because deep down, I knew that it was wrong, right? And I think deep down, I knew that my friends and my family would be like, what the hell? Come on, like, get out of that situation. So when I was going through it, I wasn't really listening to anyone else, which is really tough then, right? Um,
But you don't.
no, you
You
don't.
don't because you also think no one understands. No one understands
100%.
like I get it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I would say, what was your original question?
Like what piece of advice would you give to someone either going through it or somebody who recognizes that someone else is going through it? Like they might see that their friend is in a relationship that isn't good for them, but they're not listening, you know? It's like, what would you say to your best friend that was watching Ria back then?
Yeah. I would say you have to be kind about it. Like passing judgment on someone or getting angry at them because they're in this and you want them to get out of this situation isn't a very helpful thing to do. But opening up the conversation in a really kind way and being like, hey, I've noticed some like behaviors that maybe I don't think are so good, or I just wanted to like check in and make sure everything's okay and like just see if you wanted to hang out sometime and just kind of start to slowly open up a safe space for them is probably the best thing that you can do. Because I know for me, when I was in that situation, I was in such denial and I was also so like angry that I feel like if someone had to come at me, and I think my sister did a few times, obviously out of concern, being like, Ria, what the hell? Like, come on, you need to get out of this. I think I would have responded by putting a wall up rather than feeling like I can then articulate how I'm feeling. So I would say, yeah, try and open up a safe space for them and let them know that you're there for them. If someone's in immediate danger, obviously that is totally different. And then you would need to handle that
Yeah.
completely differently.
Yeah. I think like you kind of said it, it's like keeping it a safe space, even if you see them going back to this person time and time again,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they they do. These
I
guys,
did.
they're very clever. So did I. And it got to the point where my friends were like, "Oh, we've given up with you now. If you want to go for it." And then I felt even more isolated
Yeah.
because I couldn't get out of this toxic relationship. And then my friends almost lost respect for me because they couldn't understand why I kept going back to this guy. Um, I mean, I really also want to acknowledge right now that the World Cup's going on, and I read a stat recently that domestic abuse, and this is, I'm not saying football causes it. It's something that with people that are already abusers, their abuse increases by 38% during the World Cup.
That is wild.
It increases by 38% if they lose and 26% if they win. And I think, why do you think that is? The drink, the
Yeah, I mean,
emotion around,
the heightened emotion and
yeah,
not being able to control your emotions, because I think a lot of it comes down to that. I mean, my situation, I was trapped in COVID with this person. And so lockdown kind of happened, and I thought it was going to be like 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, we didn't know what was happening,
yeah,
right? I thought it was going to be 2 or 3 weeks. They were like, come stay with me. Like, you can work from my house. It's fine. It's fine. Got there, worst decision of my life, because then I'm trapped in this house, right? And there's a lot of heightened emotion, I guess, similar to the world, not similar to, but like the World Cup, there's a lot of emotion going on. There's a lot of
it was
like,
heightened. It was a
everything's
very
heightened.
intense period,
I
the
think
lockdown.
intense is the thing,
Yeah.
right? These people are very intense anyway. So the intensity rose. And I mean, this person just could not handle it. And I was just trapped in this apartment with like no outside space. And then all of a sudden, I'm not allowed to work. And all of a sudden, I can't turn my camera on Zoom in case anyone finds out where I am. And it's like this incredibly like prison like environment. And I can imagine that when someone is at home and they're watching sport and they're in their kind of safe space in their environment where they can just be themselves, the intensity of their character will come out.
Mm,
You know, it wouldn't be this, maybe it wouldn't be the same as if someone was sitting in a pub, but when you get home again into your environment where you're comfortable being yourself and showing your true colors, I can imagine that is when things are a lot worse. Well, not I can imagine, I know that is where things
yeah.
are a lot worse.
Yeah. This is, it's quite heavy what we're
Mm.
talking about, and we could talk for hours about this. If you were going to meet yourself, however many years ago that was, in the lockdown, and you could actually say to Ria back then what you know now, what would you say?
I would say, it is a bit emotional when you talk about like the old version of you. I would say you are stronger than you know, and that you deserve more. And I would say that the same love and respect that you give to the people around you is what you then deserve back. You know, the energy that you are giving is what you should be receiving. So I would say that on an emotional level. And then on a more practical level, I would say, I know it is so scary, and I know you feel unsafe. And I know that maybe the unknown actually feels even scarier than the current situation that you're in, but you don't have to do it all in one go. Like, just take the first step. I when everything started to open back up again, I a really good, like, one of my best friends today, but I hadn't actually known her that long then. She reached out one day and she was like, "Do you want to go for a walk?" Because we could. And then I would just start to go for like regular walks with her. And she didn't know what was going on. Or if she did, she didn't say anything. She just gave me that safe space to be me. And then I think through those walks, I was like, this is me.
Mm,
Like, this is my fun loving happy self. This is who I am. And I think just by taking that small step and not even outwardly opening up to a friend, but just being open to having a friend made me remember my strength.
Mm.
And it was actually through those experiences that then found the strength to actually leave. Um, so yeah, I would just say on a practical base, I would say to someone, you don't have to do it all in one go.
Yeah.
Like just baby steps.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's it, because it's not about like, right, I'm gonna leave, that's it, because it's too much
It's
to
too
just go.
much.
But yeah, if you just yeah, slowly, almost like start to plan the exit
That's
in a
exactly
way.
what I did.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to, otherwise they'll get you fucking
That is exactly what I
yeah,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. You just have to forward think, and you know in your mind, you know that this isn't right, but it's like finding the strength to get out of it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But also, like, I think just you don't have to give all the details to people, right? You can just open up a little bit.
Mm,
And I just think, honestly, I kept this within me for so many years. I got out of the situation, but I didn't talk about it with people. I carried around a lot of fear and feeling very ashamed and a lot of anxiety about it. Because, like I said, some of the people who were around me at the time are still in my life. And I just, yeah, ashamed is the only word I can use to describe how I felt. Um, I had this calling. I'd done therapy, a lot of therapy, and I had this calling one day, and I was like, just think I need to use my platform to like open up about it. And I opened up about it, and this weight like lifted from my shoulders, and I was so emotional. Like I could not stop crying. And it was from then that I feel like I took the lid off. And then
yeah.
I was like, like I can keep talking about it now, and I will keep talking about it.
Oh, yeah, like it's inspiring because that like I've had a few dodgy relationships over the years, and they've been, you know, in different ways. Um and
By the way, I
off
wasn't laughing then at your dodgy obviously not, but I just had a little smile because we had a lot of conversations last summer.
yeah, yeah, like yeah. Um it's it takes time. It takes time, and I think I've only really now like accepted what happened to me all those years
Mm,
ago, and even just saying it out loud, like said to you, like things that had happened in that relationship. Um and there is a lot of shame there,
mm,
and you think, how could I allow someone to treat me like
mm. No, now I'm gonna cry.
that?
No, I feel the exact same. Honestly, I feel
But
the exact same way.
yeah, and then it becomes a pattern of like being in relationships that are toxic
Yeah,
because you allow somebody to treat you that way. So you think, oh, that's normal,
it's
even if you can
because
get out of it. And then, yeah,
no, I know
sometimes you're just unlucky and you just meet someone that's you think is a
it's
good
because
guy and they're not.
they're so clever because they take all your boundaries away, right? And then
Mm.
it's like unless but then you carry around all this emotion and this shame around it. So then it's really hard to talk about it. So then you don't necessarily heal, you just push it away, right?
Totally. I've like pushed it to the, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you did
But
too.
then you've never focused necessarily on replacing or rebuilding the boundaries that you know are normal in a relationship or
Yeah.
should be normal for you
Yeah.
as an individual. And that's where like women's trust is so powerful because they give the mental health support and they give the therapy, and therapy is so powerful because now I'm like, I will not be treated like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember after it happened, I had a good deal of time after where I didn't see anyone at all because I was like, I need to rebuild myself. I'm still rebuilding myself 100%. There's still work to be done. But I remember I was seeing this guy, and one little red flag, I was like, "See you later, buddy." Like, I am not doing this again because it just the experience taught me, okay, like, where are my boundaries now? How do I want to be treated? Will I be treated like that again? No. Therefore, I'm not tolerating anything now.
Mm,
Which makes me fundamentally, it's made me a much stronger
yeah,
person.
yeah. I mean, that's amazing that you could get over that, have that therapy, and, coming back to self-love. And I think, like, that's one of the things that I've really had to work on. And that's what it is at the end of the day. You can truly love yourself. You won't allow somebody to treat you like that. And that goes for anything, work, relationships, friendships,
Mm,
everything. It is about boundaries, yeah. And knowing that you deserve better.
definitely. The deep inner work needs to be done.
It does.
It's not easy. It's
No.
not easy, but it's
Yeah,
necessary.
and it's an ongoing journey. It's not like,
100%.
"Oh, I've done the work," and it goes out. It's like it ebbs and flows, and you might think, "Oh, I'm good for a bit," and then all of a sudden, in the quiet time at home, all of a sudden I'm like breaking down. I'm in tears. No
Oh,
one knows. And
oh,
then, but like what,
no, it's
it
true.
happens to the best, like all of
My
us. Like,
therapist said to me, you get a I think that therapy is for life, right? It's like you have an ongoing journey. It's not like, okay, I've done 6 weeks and now I feel great. Like there are so many things that happen to us. There are so many things in our psyche which affect the way that we are.
mm,
So it's like, how am I then working on those? It can't be it can't be like 6 weeks and then okay, cool, I'm good now for life. Like so many things have affected us. So you have a calling, right? You're like, okay, I think it might be time
yeah,
for me to do a little bit more inner work.
yeah, yeah,
And then you might have another stint of therapy and
yeah,
then you might have a little break from it.
yeah.
But I think it's, yeah, it's a continuous journey for sure.
I love that. You have a calling to, like, yeah, you have that period where you're like, I'm going to do this inner work and I'm going to go to therapy, and then you're good. And then it's like, oh, actually, I'm going to come back to it now. Or I'm going to do, and for therapy can be in so many different ways. It can be speaking therapy. Some people go on these like psychedelic journeys, or maybe it's like yoga and meditation, or
Yeah. But I even
so many
actually
different
find
things.
going for a walk outside is like therapy for me.
100%. Fitness is therapy.
Fitness is
Training,
therapy. Yeah.
going for a run, you know, putting yourself in the pain cave
Yeah.
in a workout.
Literal therapy.
Yeah, yeah. But what I just want to go back to, like, what you're doing, and the charity work, and the your women's community. What's next? What have you got going on? Is there um an event or something that anyone that's listening that's like, oh my God, I would love to come along? Where can they find you? What have you got coming up?
I have got lots coming up. So you can find me. I've got my own Instagram page, which is just Ria Gandhi. That's who I am. But then I have the Empowerment Club Instagram page where I put all of my events and everything up there, which is super cool. So we've got one coming up on Sunday. I don't know if when this
This,
episode will come
yeah.
out. So we have one this Sunday coming up. But I try and do at least 3 or 4 per month. And they're a mixture of like wellness, so things maybe for the mind a little bit more. So we've got a sound bath, movement, of course, and then a little bit more like community focus. So things like supper clubs, um, and then everything is on my app. So there's a variety of different things that are going on. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me obviously at my website. But yeah, I'm all here for women feeling strong.
I love that. I mean, I love that. What So for someone that you coach, or someone that's going to come along to one of your events, what do you want to have them leave feeling?
I want women to realize that they are stronger than they could ever know and that they can become the strongest versions of themselves, but they have to think about their health as a whole. And I think finding that community, finding your people that build you up is like the best way to go about it.
Mm, so, so lovely. I want to come to one of your
And
events.
please, anytime.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. What does strength mean for you? Physically, mentally, emotionally? Like, what does that word mean?
I think that pure strength is within you. And I think obviously we need to go and lift weights to be physically strong. Um, but I think it's about doing the work where you can truly feel that sense of strength from within. And I think when you feel that strength from within, and when you work on loving yourself wholly, when you work on looking after your mental health, the rest will follow. I think I spent so many years neglecting that part of my health, and no more. I actually did a little
Mm.
vision boarding thing yesterday, and I was like, I'm just fixated on this word lion. I'm like, I want to be fearless, like, I want to be courageous, and that needs to come from within. So I think true strength is every part of your health, but I think really it comes from doing that work in yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I'm all about the self-love and how if you can start with that, everything else will follow. But like you you have to look within. Like I truly believe that as well.
Yeah.
It all comes from loving yourself, and then you then able. It's like that saying, you can't love yourself, you can't love anyone else, properly, fully. So yeah, I love that. Ria, thank you so much for
Thank
coming on.
you so much. What
I
the heck?
what the what the heck? Big love, sis.
Big love.
And